license,
Mhm.
right? So like what that experience was like getting your builder's license, what the actual interview was like, and then how did that affect your business going forward?
Yeah. So getting the building license was the key, was the ticket. Like it's the license that you get that allows you to basically build and sign contracts to do an unlimited build. So you can be the head license or the main contractor between yourself and the client or architect that undertakes the full scope of the work. And it's the golden ticket. It's what everyone wants to get. So unlimited being you can take on any domestic building work, essentially. Like you can take on the whole scope of the house under your one contract, and then you can subcontract out, say, the electrical, the plumbing, whatever. But at the end of the day, you sign off on it as the builder. So the process there is you have to build up an application, and that can take as little or as long as possible. You can pay people to do it. In this case, I had Dad collecting. He was working for me, and we were collecting, as I was completing these projects under other builders, we were collecting evidence and plans and knowledge and putting them together to form part of the application. And then as we got that application to a level where we felt it was ready to submit, we started to rehearse and practice the practice questions. So the building license is basically a written or a multiple choice component or a test that you sit, and with like a plan reading exercise attached to that. If you complete that and pass that, you go to the next phase, which can be up to a 4+ hour one-on-one interview where you basically get grilled about the projects that you submitted in your application, just general about your relationship with building and what your roles have been previously, levels of experience, etc. So it's an intense process, and people know that it is, and it's a big milestone. So you don't want to fuck it up.
Yeah. Of course.
So yeah, we got the paper, had the experience, had the projects under our belt, working under other builders and taking on projects of similar nature, and yeah, submitted the application. I went and did the written test, got that sorted out, no problem. Although that was the part I was nervous about because I hadn't done much study and I was freaking out, but I smoked the multiple choice part because of Dad once again forced me to rehearse. I mean, it was like with Dad was printing out his own. He went to his teaching days. He was printing me out bloody
mock question,
multiple choice. He had different games to try and teach me. I was fucking ropeable. I hated to try and sit me down for an hour. I was like, all right, I get it. I fucking do this stuff every day. Give me a break. He's like, nah, you have to know it off by heart. You have to know it off by heart. And it paid off because I smashed it. I think I got 98% or 99% on the multiple choice. That was good. That was a big relief for me. And then the next stage was the interview. And I knew with the interview that I would be fine because I'd actually done the work. You know, you get called out in these things when you haven't done the work. You're full of shit, and your application, you haven't actually done it. When you sit in front of the person doing the interview asking you questions about it, you're going to get called out. But because I'd done the work and I'd put in so much effort, I sort of held back from getting my license to do it properly. I had heaps of documentation, and I had plenty of experience at that point. So when I sat down to do the interview, it usually goes for about 4 to 5 hours. Once he started the recording of the interview, I was done in 15 to 20 minutes. Like they basically record you and ask you a series of questions about your projects, about how you start a job, what do you check, access, egress, services, disconnection, councils, the relationship between architects, engineers, building surveyors, I had all the answers, and I was just hitting him up. I mean, I probably had done more builds than the person that was asking me the questions on the board, and he realized that. And then he ran out of questions to ask after 15 minutes, and then said, "Oh, mate, we're done." And I was like, "You're kidding." I'm like, "We only just started. I got a Bunnings basket here of extra evidence for you, just in case you smoked me too hard. What do you mean we're done?" And he's like, "Nah, you're good to go." And I'm like, "Fuck, righto." And that was it. I was on.